Hello everybody, Courtney here, New Mexico Stitching Demon. How's everybody's day going? I'm glad. Or I'm very sorry to hear that. Oh shit, no Courtney. I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, just like the Truman Show. It's 8:35 in the morning on Saturday, April 27th. Doing this a day early because I can. Missy, why are you panting for? My cat. She's bizarre. Figured I'd do this today right now because currently Dana's outside working on the chicken coop, basically doing the final touches on it, getting the windows set up. I'll be coming through with, so yeah, you might be hearing tools going. I'd apologize, but y'all should know me by now. First, I'd like to welcome all of you to this Stitch With Me number 38, 37. It'll say on the top. Welcome to all of my new subscribers. Welcome to the madness. Welcome to all of my returning subscribers. I'm happy to see you. Today we are once again working on 3 baby dragons. And I figured now is the best time as any to do a stitch with me with a stitching gab, really. Because this is the only color I got going on for this column is black. And this is also a good point for me to tell you basically kind of how I deal with long stretches, or how I stitch, essentially. I know that a lot of you guys have been watching and see how I do it, but you know, if you're new and you're kind of curious, figured I'd kind of go into that, and then I'll go into some personal stuff. They're not like miserable personal stuff, don't worry. Don't you worry, people. I'm gonna try not to be so anymore. Oh, my life. My life is actually doing pretty good these days, so still need to go see a counselor. But anyway, sorry, stitching. So I stitch cross country by columns, which is basically, for those who've never done cross country, that's when you work one color at a time throughout the entire column, block, page, what have you, and then you go on to the next one. And for me, it's easier because I see more progress that way. I started doing by the columns and extending the colors about a year ago, I'd say. Yeah, in fact, I know I did it a year ago because it came up on my timeline. Oh, shit. Oh, also, fair warning, I swears. If you don't like that, you can go. If it doesn't make you clutch your pearls, you may continue. Got my music playing in the background today. So instead of stopping at the, because you know, columns, they're all, you know, lined out. I don't stop at the end of the column if that's where the color stops. So as you can see, like, for example, for the black that I'm working on right now, you know, 10 is about here. But the color, especially this line, is going all the way across the page, and this is the end of the page. So I will take the color all the way across until it stops, or the page stops in this case. And what it does is, I mean, it's nothing that I have noticed anybody doing is going to prevent the lines. You know, it's just what it is. It is what it is. And I'm not going to cry about it. But it does kind of give it a smoother look for the most part. And it looks really good, cool on the back. You guys can see that. So, and no back, hashtag no back shame. So this is, you know, like all of the confetti, whatnot, and then all of these long stretches of black just kind of make it look nice and clean. So, but that's just how I do it. This is what works for me. I know a lot of people park. I know a lot of people especially when it comes to full coverage pieces like dragons is. Excuse me. because you know that's what works for them. I personally would lose my ever loving mind. I mean, it drives me nuts to have to park one color because I had skipped. You know, I dropped a color somewhere. You know what I mean? And I'd have to go back and fill it in. So I either let it, you know, do that, get another needle, or I'd take the needle off and let the gloss hang. But it just, I was like, oh my god, no. But this is how I do it. It works for me. However works for you, you know, try different things. Try cross country, try by columns, try by rows. I've seen some who go by rows and they also go down at the same time. They just kind of, who is it? It's Nikki Crafts, I think it is. She just kind of goes with the flow of the color. Sometimes it's across, sometimes it's down. You know. So, you know, if you want to do that stair-step method, do that. Try that, you know. Like I said, whatever works for you. Make sure you guys can see what's going on. So in May, I just kind of had this idea before I started filming, really. Because I know I don't want to do a whole lot of stitching gabs anymore. It's not that I don't enjoy it, it's, you know, not every project I have is conducive to talking and stitching at the same time. And also, I don't always have a bunch to say. So I'm thinking that, and I have mentioned it, that my Google Photos now allows you to use your own personal music to put over videos. So what I'm going to experiment on is making videos about 30 minutes or so where it's just music over my stitching instead of me talking. And I'm thinking of doing like, you know, on average I've got 4 Stitch With Me's a month because there's 4 Sundays in a month usually. But I'm thinking of doing maybe 1 or 2, and then the rest are the stitch and listens. What's the princess doing? Bandit is in heat, and we have our neighbor Zach. He's got a dog who's a terrier, a pit bull, and he's adorable, and he's so sweet, so loving. Not very well behaved in that he likes to run off at times and scare the shit out of us, but he's not fixed either, and he has been very, very much more interested in Bandit than usual, and she and him, and that's just because of the hormones and whatever. So, you know, it's been fun trying to keep them as separated as we can, but thankfully Bandit has the wherewithal to be like, nope, not gonna happen. Hi, Bubba's. Aww, I love you. What'd Bandit do? Oh, okay. Good girl. Come on, kiddos. I'm recording. Hi, world. Bud, come here, buddy. I love you so. Have fun. I don't know if you heard Dane said hi, world. Brought the dogs in. Bandit is, like I was saying, she's very astute, very aware, and Dane was just saying that Eli, the dog next door, was out, and she immediately went to Dane, so they are all 4 of them downside. Not because we're afraid of any fights or anything, they all get along, all 5 of them get along very, very well. It's, you know, Dane's busy, you know, he doesn't have time to be constantly looking over his shoulder, making sure Eli's not putting dick in my dog, because we have decided to breed her after the wedding because we just don't have time for it to focus on it right now. And the fact that next year we're going to be gone for 2 weeks, so roughly 2 weeks for our honeymoon. Like, let's just wait. And then we'll get her fixed. One of my coworkers, I was telling her about this, and she goes, haven't you walked through the shelters and seen all the dogs and blah, 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 blah? And I'm like, those are either given directly to the shelter or given to people who are irresponsible. When Sandy and Jasper had their litter, of which Bandit was a part of, we gave the boys to people that we knew and were responsible. Because we didn't want them winding up in the shelter, that we knew that they were going to go to good homes. So, and that's what we're going to do with, ultimately, with Bandit's puppies. We're not just going to go, you know, sit out at the parking lot of Walmart and be like, oh, free puppies. No. Because you never know what kind of jackasses you might be giving your dog to, you know what I mean? Ultimately, you could unintentionally be giving a puppy to a dog fighter. And, you know, what have you just done to that dog's life by doing something like that? I would rather give him to somebody I know, that I trust, and that, ultimately, if I wanted to go and see them, I could. Hi, Misti. Started this page 12. Yes, yesterday. I came home early because here's the life drama going on right now. Dental drama, really. So Monday, went in to get the crown process started for, so think of your mouth while you're stitching. The far back molar on the left side is the tooth I'm getting worked on currently. It is very small. There's not a lot of room back there, fine, whatever, but the tooth itself is very little. And that's what the dental tech and my dentist kept saying, oh man, this tooth is so little. Ah, it's so little. I'm like, sorry. I grew it. You know, they have to do their grinding thing and make sure all of the decay is out and blah, 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 and inject you with so much numbing agent to make sure that you don't feel it. And for the most part, it went pretty well until they had to start doing the temps. One, the numbing agent wore off twice. And I even said to my dentist, I'm going to punch you in the fucking face. He's like, you felt that? I'm like, obviously. He goes, you were not supposed to feel that. Because he was trying to grind down the bottom tooth just to make sure that there was like some level playing field or whatever. Not enough to like, you know, make a huge difference, but just enough to, you know, make sure everything fit. The temps kept breaking because, like I mentioned, my tooth back there is little. He was saying, and he kept saying, 10 years, I've never had a tooth be so difficult. And he said, I've done thousands of crowns. Excuse me. He said typically what they want from a tooth is they need 2 millimeters on the side and then 4 millimeters on the grinding part, on the tooth part, the chew part, to be able to make an effective temp. My tooth, he said, before he even touched it, I have 1 millimeter on the side and 2 millimeters from my biting portion. So every temp that they were making kept cracking. And they would put it in, and how does that feel? And it feels too thick, and, you know, doesn't feel right. You know, I was saying, you know, we're trying to bulk it up so it doesn't crack, but your tooth is just way too little. It's too little. Tooth's too little. Sorry. And eventually it got to the point, because the numbing agent kept wearing off, he's like, I can't give you any more, because there's only so much that we can top you out at. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So they tried to do their best. They wound up using this stuff that's not typically used for a temp. It's used for something else. Tooth related, obviously. To use as a temp. And he said, unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut it off when we put your crown in. I'm like, fantastic. So I, walked out finally almost 3 hours later and found out how much this son of a bitch was going to cost me, and damn near had an epileptic seizure. Because I was like, how does it, what, it's twice as much as the last one. And she showed me why, and it was because my dental insurance portion was pretty much up for the year. I was like, son of a bitch, it's all day April. And I still have one more crown to go. And then I'm done. I think. Pretty sure. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Seasickness. So I said, okay, well, can I just pay this in portions? And they said, yeah. So, thankfully. Still, $283. Oh, like, that's not what I wanted to pay. I expected to pay at least a little less than $200 walking out that door, but no. Hi, Diamond. Bye, Diamond. Well, you walk out, you're sore, you're numb, your face is swollen like you got stung by a wasp, And I figured, okay, well, that's going to be it for like a day or two. And obviously, the next day I was fucking miserable. Thankfully, I was in my office that day and didn't have to deal with people. And I even told my supervisor, look, I'm really in a lot of pain from dental work, so if it's okay, I'm just going to do cases that don't involve calling anybody. She said, that's fine. So I love my management team, dude. I swear. You tell them, hey, I'm in a situation where blah, 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 and they're like, no problem, we will work with you. Love it. And, oh yeah. So I figured, Tuesday, Wednesday, at the most, I was going to be, hurting and swollen. Well, it finally comes Friday. I hurt so bad. And this thing has been just bugging me, and it's cracking. And my friend goes, because I, I mentioned, I'm thinking about calling the dentist because I don't think it should be hurting this long because the last crown didn't feel like this. And she said, yeah, I really think you should call the dentist because even in the last few hours, your face has swollen up twice as much and you look red. I'm like, fantastic. So I called them and I told them what was going on, and they said, oh shit, I think it might be an infection, so we're going to get you in here at 3 o'clock. I said, okay. I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. Come 12 o'clock, I'm not feeling well. I'm lightheaded. I'm in pain. Just whiny, bitchy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm telling Liz, I think if they can get me in sooner, I think I'm going to go in sooner. She said, you really ought to call. You don't look good. So I called him and I said, I know that you guys have scheduled me for 3, but is there any way I can get in sooner? I really don't feel very well. I'm trying to be stoic and hang out, but I can't, I just can't at this point. And they said, we scheduled you at 3 because it would be more convenient for the dentist. But, if you really feel like you've got to come in, and we'll get you in. He's almost done with a patient. Get there at 12:15. And he looks at my mouth and goes, yeah, you got an ulcer in your mouth. Fantastic. So I've got an open sore. He goes, we're going to give you some steroids, and we're going to, I recommend doing a saltwater rinse 2 or 3 times a day, which I haven't done yet, by the way. And I said, they gave me that tooth and gum tonic stuff. He goes, yeah, that works, but he's like, the salt water works even better, so try that instead. That, he's like, for some reason that seems to heal up the gums even better. I'm like, all right. So I got a prescription for prednisone and took that shit, and I'm telling you, I was already starting to feel better. They're not nearly so sore. My cheek is already not so swollen. I mean, it hurts. And not only that, but the temp is still cracking. And, end of the day yesterday, I was like, maybe I should call the dentist and tell him, look, this shit is cracking. Sorry about that. This stuff is falling apart, but there's no point because they're having me go in Monday afternoon for a follow-up. So I just got to get through the weekend and I'll be all right. So basically, as soon as I was done with the dentist, I went to the store, dropped off my prescription, shopped around a little bit for lunch meats and stuff, because, keto, yo. Oh no, I was at the store with my friend Brandy. She's like, so, they didn't tell you what he brought home for you? I'm like, no. She goes, I made keto cookies just for you. And I'm like, really? So I get home, and there was this little container of cookies, and she had even told me, she's like, you kind of have to experiment, with the timing and the ingredients, because the way that they were saying in the book was, I tried it the first time and they kind of burned and then they were too sweet, or she's like, so, just kind of really, just play with the experiment. I'm like, all right. I ate those cookies so fast. They were so good. So good. So Dane's like, so you're going to order that cookbook, right? So I did. I ordered the easy keto dessert book on Amazon. $14. It'll be here Monday. So since I've been home yesterday early, I got started on page 12. Page 11 had been finished the other, day before. I think I had gotten started on page... No? I don't remember. But I do know that I have been blowing through this column, because I had, time to do so. Hi, Bobby Cat. Bye. So that's my drama, my tooth drama. But at the end of this, I'm getting a gold tooth. I told Dana, I said, if I'm going to have one gold tooth, I'm going to have it in the back of my mouth. And even the dentist, she's like, the assistant said, a gold tooth is more durable, it lasts a lot longer, and it makes you look cooler. She goes, plus it's in the back. Nobody's really going to notice, if that's something that you're worried about. I'm like, no, not really. I have this thing that if you have your front teeth are gold, I don't think it looks attractive at all. I don't care if you're man, woman, child, goat. It just looks trashy. I can't take somebody seriously with a gold tooth, like, smack up in the front. I was like, no. No. That just looks bad. To me, But I also, don't wear a lot of the cool things that people wear, so... This is my idea of an exciting Saturday night, okay? Speaking of an exciting Saturday night, which tonight will not be because Dan has to work. So Avengers Endgame is out. Has been since Thursday night and has been sold out since Thursday night. And in fact, even if Dane didn't have to close this weekend, there would be no chance of us actually getting in to go see it, because it is completely sold out. I was like, holy shit. And we knew it would be, but we can never really, plan, a major movie event, because, especially around opening night, one, because we don't really technically want to be there opening weekend, because of the fact that it's packed, people bring their little children, and we hate people. In general, humanity is shitty. Especially those who bring their infants into an action movie. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Now, to be fair, there have been a couple of times where we've gone to action movies and there are little screaming children who are not screaming. They watch the whole movie through. They're very well behaved. And it is a nice change of pace. But for the most part, leave your kids at home. Or take them to an earlier show. Or wait till it comes out on DVD. Because... And I'm not saying your kids are all like that. I'm just saying that there's a lot of kids and parents that bring screaming children into the movie theater. There's been a couple times I've gone and seen movies where people are drinking in the theater. Now, in America, that's not cool. I get it. In, Europe, that's a thing. Fine. I don't care. Here's the issue. It's when you get belligerent and obnoxious, and then you start, being more of that obnoxious moviegoer than is necessary. You go and see a horror movie and something happens, you're like, oh shit, what the fuck are you thinking? That's one thing. But when you're obnoxious and belligerent to everybody around you, why did you even go outside? Like, really? Like, what was the point? To be a dick? Thank you. You have now shown humanity that you are a dick. You may go now. Somebody, I need to sit back for a second. But anyways, I think what we're gonna ultimately end up doing is wait a couple more weeks, and then we'll go and see it once, you know, all the furor has died down, and we know that the theater won't be so packed, and we can actually, like, say, okay, I'm off this night. Let's go this night. All right, date night. And we usually go to Hunan's, which is a local Chinese restaurant, and then we go out for dinner. Or we go for dinner and then we go to the movies. And I'm one of those people, I like to get to the movies sooner. Like early, like half an hour early. Because one, you gotta get your concession stuff. And two, you gotta make sure that you can pick the right seat for you, you know? And we're the kind that we like to sit, not like way up in the front where you're kissing the screen, but in the front where the rails are. Pleased with yourself? Asshole cat? Everything's fine, by the way. Bandit, shut that shit down. Yeah, you know, that's why I like to go, and when I like going to the theater, and some theaters, like, they have, like, fun little trivia, and, you know, they kind of make it worth your while to sit there and wait. My theater's not nearly so cool like that, unfortunately, but I want to make sure that I have my seat, that, you know, I like sitting in the middle, front row, feet up on the rail, leave me the fuck alone. That's my favorite spot. That's where I get the best angle, in my opinion. You know, we sit there, we eat our concessions, and then the movie starts, and we just have ourselves a gay old time. Dan still doesn't understand. He's like, fine, if you want to be there early, we'll be there early. There's no point, you're not doing anything, you're just missing the trailers. Like, you don't miss the trailers for a good movie. Oh, last movie we saw, where did we go see? I think we went and seen... I think it was How to Train Your Dragon 3. Could have seen a movie since then. But they wound up playing 2 trailers twice. One for Toy Story 4 and one for Dumbo, which we still haven't seen, and I still want to. So I wanted to share this little bit of wonderful, and then, you know, next weekend is my update video, and I'll be sharing it again, I'm sure, but I'll actually show you everything that I got. Came home from work the other day, and they said, oh, we got a mailer from Australia. I'm like, Australia? I didn't order. Oh, wait. I messaged Belinda, and bless you, mummies. Like, somebody from sent us a big mailer from God's own country, land of sunshine and sharks. You wouldn't know anything about that now, would you? And I can just imagine she's just sitting there laughing. And she's like, finally it arrived. She said, I sent that shit 3 weeks ago. I'm like, well, we just got it. So she sent some wonderful gifts, such beautiful stitchy kindness that the likes of which I don't think can be topped at this point. I mean, and she did it just because she wanted to. I mean, I didn't ask for anything. I didn't win anything. She's just like, Courtney is an awesome person, so I'm going to send her some awesome things. And you know what? I am still just in awe over everything she sent. And I can't wait to show you guys. I mean, you've seen the pictures on Instagram, but obviously pictures don't do it justice. I look forward to showing you guys all of the fabric, the beautiful fabric the patterns and the needle minders. Cats are still running around the house because that's what cats do. So, which brings me to this, you know, I'm thinking of sending something to another portion of the world. Won't say where, won't say who, ha ha ha, but I'm sure she's going to figure it out. But I don't know what the rules are as far as like sending perishable items. So I'm like going on a US Customs and I'm like, I want to send this thing. Okay. Apparently there was low storage on my device. This will be the last bit, I think, anyway. And then we'll be good to go for the week. But yeah, I was saying, you know, I wanted to make sure that what I was going to send her wasn't going to, like, kill the whole country or whatever. And looks like you can pretty much send anything you want anywhere in the world, so long as you meet their strict, you know, import guidelines, or else they'll destroy it and you pay for it. Nice. So, tomorrow, episode 3, Game of Thrones. I'm not ready, because we're going to lose some people. I mean, we're always going to lose people, but I mean, this is ridiculous. Ridiculous! See what happens, man. What do you think? I mean, I'm pretty sure that Jon's not going to go for the throne. He has no interest in being king. But if he does, he'll be happy to rule it with his Dany. But we'll find out in the next few episodes, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Make sure this video doesn't get longer than necessary. I still need to go all the way back across. Still a lot of black. All of this is black. And then that'll be that for this column. Dane's doing a thing. Kids, it's fine. Stop worrying. Stop freaking out. It's just noises. Alright guys, you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for these little choppy bits. And for listening to me gab. Like I mentioned, next month things are going to change as far as the Stitch With Me's are concerned. Not terribly much, but, you know, enough that, you know, why not? Why not? Alright, you guys have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy season 3, or episode 3. Tomorrow, it's supposed to be the longest episode so far. It better be, because they promised us each episode is going to be 2 hours long. This one is actually going to be 2 hours long. If you go and see Endgame, please don't ruin it. Don't spoil it. Because there are plenty of us who aren't going to be able to see it for a while. You guys have... I have heard, though, that it is really good so far. That it is all the feels, one person said. So, I want to thank you guys for watching with me, stitching with me. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the upcoming week. Stay cool, stay warm, wherever you are. Take care.